chilly today. Astral Awakening Core Energy Coach, and it is my soul's purpose to help you get your shit together so you can break free from that mental prison that you find yourself in and show up for yourself and live the life that you love and build a business that you can be proud of and build a life that you can be proud of and rediscover joy and not just settle for happiness, because joy is a much higher energetic existence than happiness. Happiness can be temporary, whereas joy is permanent. So today, to help you do that and plus much more, I wanted to bring a topic to you that has kept us women in the Sacred Circle today talking for a little bit longer, and that's why I'm coming on to you today a little bit late than usual. But this is the topic. I'm not going to be sharing the stories of the girls in Sacred Circle because that's private, that's sacred. But I will share my story, and the story that I share that is mine is actually also a story of quite a few women that I have worked with before in similar ways and yet in a little bit of different ways, but I will be sharing mine. So if you feel you're relating to the story, then this video is for you. If you feel like you're not relating to the story, then the video might still be for you or for someone that you know in your life. And also feel free to share this video with anyone that you feel like can benefit from this type of information and content for them, as well as this is on my personal profile. It's public and anyone can share it and watch it and whatnot. And also, if you like these types of videos, these types of informational guidance type of trainings or mastermind calls, I don't know what we want to call them, then I invite you to check out my podcast, Get Your Shit Together with Yana Kasperczak, on your favorite platform. And the way that shit is spelled, it's not the I, it's exclamation mark in there. So it's the I upside down. As we feel like we are living an upside down life. And in order for us to feel upright, we need to get our shit together so the I can go in its right way and not the upside down way. So just to share with you why it's the upside down I, which is the exclamation mark. But today's topic is, and also subscribe to the podcast if you find it's the right fitting for you, and you can listen to it anytime, anywhere you want, and download the podcast and listen to them. I upload usually about 2 per week on that platform. Some of these you will not see in my public profile. Actually, most of them you won't see in my public profile. You just see a few of them. Just for the Tuesday story time. So today's topic is why you struggle to accept gifts or help. And often those two go hand in hand. You struggle to accept gifts and you struggle to accept help, or you struggle to ask for help. So here comes my story. Hey Debbie, how are you doing, beautiful? Says hello again to you as well. It's been a long time, hasn't it? So here comes my story of my struggle to accept gifts, which I feel like was a lifelong struggle that I have started to overcome this past year. Because in order for any one of us to overcome our struggles, our blocks, we need to understand them. If we don't understand what we're struggling with, how can we change it? How can we rewrite it into something different? Avoiding it and ignoring it and doing other things to distract ourselves and busy ourselves without doing the actual work is not going to fix the problem. What fixes the problem of not being able to accept gifts, not being able to ask or receive help, is a problem for a lot of women who would fall into the category of being good girls. I struggled to accept gifts my whole entire life. I felt like it was coming from a place of I didn't feel that I was worthy of them, or also coming from a different place that you're getting me a gift and I have to give something back to you. Otherwise, I would feel so bad not having given you a gift that was worthy of your gift. Comparing my gift to your gift. That my gift is not good enough because, let's say, I made my gift with my own hands and you went and you spent substantial amount of money on the gift. And this comparison was one thing that was coming from a place of the good girl, because the good girl wanted to make sure that you felt that your gift was worthy, that you yourself felt worthy, that you felt good, that I gave you something that made you feel good. And if I signed, you kind of signed that you didn't, then it would be about me. Whereas in reality, if someone doesn't like something, it's not about us. It's about them. There's something about them. And each and every one of us is responsible for ourselves. So if we don't feel good, we're not supposed to blame the external world. We can find information from the external world to help us understand what is happening in our internal world, so we can shift and change what we need to. So we can first understand and then shift and change. And so I struggled to accept gifts. I remember, so now here comes the actual stories. I remember when my husband and I now, when we were dating, he would just get me gifts just because. Or for a special occasion, he would buy me flowers. Or flowers or a gift, or then we got married, he would send me gifts. I would eventually tell him, eventually was fairly quickly, I would tell him, don't buy me gifts. I don't remember exactly the phrases that I used and how I said it, but it was coming from a place of, don't buy me gifts because that money, I'm not worth that money. And this is what I have learned through going in deep within myself and understanding where were these stories coming from, where were these blocks coming from, where were this low self-worth coming from, where I did want to receive gifts. I didn't want to ask for them, but I wanted to receive them. I wanted to feel loved through gifts as well. I wanted to feel noticed, seen, buy me something that I would love, but I don't want to ask for it. Surprise me, be romantic. But initially it was coming from, I don't want you to spend that money on me, but I want you to spend that money on yourself. I want us to spend that money on other things that are more important than me. So in saying those things and recognizing what I was saying, what I was telling him, is that I was not seeing my self-worth. I was not seeing that I was worthy of these things. I wasn't deserving of those things because something else or someone else was more deserving, and that was not me. And I've been doing a lot of internal work for the past almost 8 years at this point, really going in within and bringing all this stuff up that most of us suppress and don't want to deal with. And I was that same way. I didn't want to bring that stuff up because it made me feel good. It made me feel bad. It made me feel bad because I had to look at myself and I had to see myself for who I was being, not who I was, but who I was being. I had to see that program and I had to understand that this is not who I am. This is the program that was given to me, that was taught to me. It doesn't matter who from. That's not what matters here. That's not why we're here. We're not here blaming your mother, your father, your grandparents, society, and all that stuff. The blaming is not going to help you. It's just gonna make you feel less of a burden, but it is you, it is the unconscious you that has chosen unconsciously to allow that to be your programming. So instead of shifting the blame on the external world, which is not going to allow you to heal yours, it will allow you to continue to blame everything and everyone. And we're not here doing that. That's not what I do with anyone that I work with or talk with. Is we're here to recognize our default program. And the default program means that when you receive a gift, or when someone offers you help or giving you help, and your initial response and reaction is to recoil, to shrink and feel small, that is the program. That's not the real you, because the real you loves yourself and feels the type of self-worthiness that would put you to shame, will make you feel a little shameful because of that programming. But the real you is proud, is confident, is love. But the programming that you have received throughout your life, the conditioning, is what is causing you this ease, this discomfort within you. And what we're meant to do is the same thing we started doing when we were little. When we would feel some kind of a discomfort, we'll recognize our curiosity with this discomfort. I feel uncomfortable. And a child doesn't think so consciously as we do now as adults, but a child feels a little discomfort. They get curious about, what is that? Why do I feel that way? They start to walk and they feel in the sense that their parents are a little nervous or a little excited, and they don't see that discomfort, right? They feel that curiosity, that childlike curiosity, which the thoughts that come to mind is it's in a way like beaten out of us with words, right? Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't think like that, don't be that way, don't do this, don't try that. A lot of don'ts, a lot of shoulds, a lot of coulds, a lot of control and putting each and every one of us in the box. So when I started to recognize that I was denying myself the very things that made me feel seen, made me feel loved, made me feel appreciated, made me feel valued, such things as gifts. When my husband would get me those flowers that I loved, that I didn't even know I loved, but I loved, and made me feel all those things, and then more. And of course, then the negative parts as well. But I focus more on the negative, because if I'm feeling the negative, then he might be feeling the negative, and I don't want him to feel the negative way. So let me fix that. Let me make him feel good, because he might be feeling, because the mind is if I'm feeling this way, the other person is feeling that way. And as true as that is in a way, is that if we focus on the negative feeling, then we'll have that negative feeling, and then that will transfer on either person. And they will start questioning, is this a good enough gift? Is this this? Is this that? Should I have done more? Should I have done less? Their own should, coulds, and whatnots. But if we feel good and we focus on the good, then we'll express that, and then the other person will feel amazing as well. So I was focusing on the negative, as all of us are conditioned to do that, until we recondition ourselves, relearn those, retrain our minds and our neural pathways, and create new neural pathways, which we can. We create new brain cells too, and we kill them as well. But we can create a lot more than we kill of the brain cells. So in recognizing that this is how my good girl was coming through, that I was feeling bad, and I would spend the time to understand in a way why I was feeling bad. But the solution was, don't buy me any more gifts. Like I said earlier, we can spend our money on that, or on this, or on that, or on the kids, or let's buy you something that it's okay. But I wasn't explaining that, and I wasn't going into the depth, because I didn't want to feel worse than I already did. So it was just easier to say, no more, it's okay, I don't need it, it's okay. But when people say it's okay, I want you to listen to what they're actually saying. What they're saying is, it's not okay. They're just trying to normalize. It's like saying, I'm fine. You're not fine. You're just trying to normalize it and calm the situation down, or whatever it is that, internal situation, external situation, and not allow you or the other person to continue to feel bad. You're trying to stop it and not allow that to go on. I didn't ask for help for years because I got it. I can do everything. I'm a superhuman. And us women are also raised in that way, where we do so much, we wear so many different hats, so many different uniforms that, mothers or women in general, we feel like we're responsible for so much, and we have to do it all, and we can't do it all. And without going into the depth of all the different stories of all the different ways how I didn't ask for help and how I wouldn't accept help and just come across in a way, oh, it's okay, I got it, even though I'm struggling and I'm drowning and I can't do this anymore, I can't take on another thing to do, and yet I won't accept help, and yet I won't ask for help. That because of this way of being, this way of living, this deeply rooted programming of I can do it all and then more and help everyone around me, that is what brought me into depression, where after our son was born, I didn't sleep he was home for about a week, and for that week I slept for maybe 12 hours for the whole entire week. I was completely losing it. And I was not happy, and we already had a toddler to take care of, and I was the superwoman where I got it, it's okay, I got it, I'll take care of her, I'll take care of him, I do all this. My husband would offer help, and I didn't know how to accept that help. I would say, no, it's okay, I got it. Again, listen to it's okay. When someone says it's okay, it's not okay. More often than not, sometimes it is because they're just used to communicating in that way. But most of the time, when someone says it's okay, it is not okay. When someone says it's fine or they're fine, that usually means they are not. So my sister, she works with mommies and babies aftercare. And she was messaging me this one fateful day, and she could tell that something was off in my responses to her. I didn't think anything was off because I was trying to be a good girl and say everything is good, everything is fine, normalize everything, and I got this. But something I said, or somehow she could tell that something was off, so she called me, and I broke down. I broke down crying because I could no longer deal with anything. And she said, we're coming over. I'm not asking, I'm telling you that me and mom and dad are coming over, and we're going to help you. We're going to help you to watch your son at night during the weekdays. And then my husband James was watching our son, or watch, because he wouldn't sleep. Every 15 to 20 minutes he'd be up. You could not leave him, you could not put him down. He had to sleep on somebody's chest. And I won't go into the understanding as to why, but there is sensitivity, and there's a connection that all babies need, and some are more vocal about it than others. And so it was something that my mom, my sister, my dad helped, my husband helped, where they rotated throughout the nights, and I still couldn't sleep. I still struggled to sleep. There was so much guilt. There was so much shame that I was going through, that it was my job, my responsibility, and they knew to not let me take over until I was much better. And then I'm going on antidepressants, which another conversation, another video I might do on this topic, but definitely not the right approach. Absolutely not. It did a lot more damage than good. Honestly, I wouldn't say that it did any good, aside from numbing me And that's something that Advil can do. By the way, Advil numbs your empathy, your emotional response. Just as one thing that it does. So in my struggle, I started to learn to accept help, but I still struggled with asking for help. And little by little, I learned to not ask for help, but become more assertive and delegate and say what I needed and speak openly and clearly about what I needed and sometimes how I needed, and not necessarily why, but sometimes the why would be important. Because in asking for help, it was more like begging for help and at the same time saying it's okay if you can't. But when you say it's okay if you can't, that means that, oh, you got it, you don't need my help, you're okay. Most people will say, oh, no, it's okay, I don't have time for that, I don't have the energy. So learning how to ask for help in assertive and clear manner was something that I needed to learn, and something that many of you can probably relate into needing to learn as well. So accepting gifts often stems from a few different patterns or blocks why we can't accept gifts or struggle to accept gifts, why we can't accept or struggle to accept help or ask for help. But often we feel really, really, really good when we give gifts, or when we offer help or help someone out. We feel really great, but struggle to receive. So if you're great at giving, what if your gift causes the other person to feel bad? Would you still give a gift? Or how would you give a gift? And you see that some people receive gifts in a very beautiful way. How can you do the same? How can you learn from that? Compliments is another thing that many good girls struggle to accept. What I had learned is that body language plays a massive role when it comes to accepting. And when we allow it in, by allowing in, what I mean and what I'm picturing is that when someone gives you a compliment, you say thank you. And you bring that compliment and your thank you to your heart, where you're actually being thankful, or instead of, oh, it's okay, thank you, right? Like where you're just turning away. It's like, no, bat it away. And that's what I used to do. I used to struggle to also accept compliments. Instead of I started to learn how to actually be accepting. And when you accept, when you allow it in, you'll have more of that. And when you reject, you'll have less of that. So deciding what you want and what you want is another little process that you can go through. So I have a few little notes that I wanted to share with you guys. So coming from societal conditioning is one place that it comes from. Like I was talking about, your default program through society. Society is, worldwide. You have where you're living, and you have in your own house. Every part is a little society where you're being taught and conditioned how to be, how not to be. What to do, what not to do, what's accepting and what's not, or what's considered to be acceptable and what's considered to not to be acceptable. Self-worth is a massive issue of why, or massive reason why you struggle to accept gifts or accept help or ask for help. And culture is a big one as well. In some cultures, people are used to and they know how to accept gifts, and others not. And also, if you are able to reflect back on how your parents were, how your grandparents were, how your friends were when it came to accepting gifts or giving gifts or accepting help or asking for help, how they were, it might help you to understand a little bit more about how you're being right now. and start to uncover a little bit more of who you actually are, because who you are feels good and who you're not doesn't feel good. And when you're being called out on who you are not, that hurts. We feel triggered because we know that's not who we are, and that's why we feel bad. But when we're being called out or appreciated for who we are, it doesn't feel bad. It feels good that we don't even care how other people perceive us or see us when we're being our true authentic self. And it takes a little bit of work and digging as well. Conditioning to be self-sufficient. Many girls are actually taught from a young age to be independent and self-sufficient. As I was talking, that's what I was taught. I was taught to be independent and self-sufficient. And your background, where you're from, has a lot to do with it as well. The women that you were around, how they were. Like, for example, both of my grandmothers had, one of them had 5 kids, the other one had 7 kids. They were raising these kids on their own. One of them lost her husband. My dad's mom lost her husband while the kids were still fairly young. Actually, no, we were young. I was young. But he was in the war, so he wasn't always there. Now, my mom's mom, she remarried. My mom is a daughter from the first husband, and then she remarried because she needed a stronger man, and that second one, most would consider him not being strong. So she worked 2 jobs, raising these 7 kids, 3 boys and 4 girls, raising them, taking care of them, taking care of her husband as well, because that was the woman's responsibility, doing it all. And she was in her mid-50s when, after the second heart attack, she did not come back. And we were already here in Canada. There was no way of going back there. My dad's mom also had her health concerns, health issues, breast cancer, ended up losing both of her breasts and doing everything, all of that, where when she was in her 70s, she broke her hip, fell down, broke her hip, but she was still trying to get around and do all these things because I must, being the strong, independent, self-sufficient woman, where now, this generation, my generation, I'm learning that it's more than okay to ask for help. That's why we have partners, to share our responsibilities equally and fairly, where identifying what are you good at, what are your gifts, and what are mine, what am I good at, what do you love and enjoy, and what do I love and enjoy, and how can we allow this household, which is our first business, to function in the most efficient way, where both of us are taking on the things that we're gifted at, we're good at, we love and enjoy, and then share those that we don't, and deciding this is what you're responsible for, what I'm responsible for, what I am, what you are, and it comes down to doing everything as a team, as true partners, where nobody is self-sacrificing entirely, because raising kids, there's going to be self-sacrifice, and in life in general there's going to be some sacrifices, but we don't see them as sacrifices, we see them as opportunities for growth and evolution. So these qualities of being independent and self-sufficient, they are valuable, they are extremely valuable. They can sometimes lead to reluctance to accept help or gifts. Of course they can. And it may also be perceived as a sign of weakness and a sign of dependency. And that's where, for me, I would see myself as weak, and I would see myself that I don't want to be dependent on someone, because I can do it all myself. Where that was not the reality for me. I was living in that reality, but that's not how I wanted to live. And then another the reason why my struggle to accept gifts or help is fearing that now you have to do something, feeling obligated to return that gift or to return help instead of just accepting it and saying thank you. Some individuals may fear that accepting gifts or help will create an obligation to reciprocate in some way. This fear can lead to discomfort with receiving assistance, as it may feel like they are in debt to the giver. How does that one resonate with you? Low self-worth is the other one I was talking about. How we feel we might not be worthy, that we are not worthy, and people who struggle with low self-worthiness, low self-esteem, may have difficulty accepting gifts or help because they feel unworthy or undeserving of kindness. But they're more than willing to be kind to everyone else, but they can't receive it. And often they don't give that to themselves, and that's why they also struggle to receive it as well. They may believe that they don't deserve good things from other people. They believe that other people deserve good things, but I don't believe they deserve good things. And that tells you more about you as an individual. If you have low self-worth, low self-esteem, and you feel like you don't deserve good things, but others do. Got to work on your self-love for yourself. Spend more time and energy in loving yourself and accepting yourself. Also, another one, when perfection comes into play. A lot of us are also raised to, be perfect little girls, perfect little good girls. And understanding what that mold is for us, how perfectionism comes in there, having high standards for yourself, or, this may cause you to feel uncomfortable when others try to help you or give you gifts, because there might be some high standard of how, in a way, it connects to the obligation, where if somebody gives you gifts, that a perfect good girl would give a gift that is equal or greater than, and this can cause her to feel bad, and also when it comes to perfection, feeling or worrying that when you accept help or when you accept gifts, it might feel or come across as a sign of a failure, that you're failing, and that's why somebody else needs to come in and step and help you. I was feeling like a total failure when I couldn't care for my kids all on my own, when I wasn't supposed to do that all on my own. I had a partner, and it's not that he didn't try to help. Of course he did. I just didn't let him, because I wanted to be the good mother, the best mother, and the best wife. Because as I'm a mat leave, I have the days and nights at home, and sleep when you can sleep, whereas he had to go to work. And I felt like it was my responsibility to do it all, so he can rest, so he can feel refreshed, so he is not tired and exhausted going to work, because it was my responsibility. And I would see myself as a failure when I couldn't. I felt inadequate, that I was failing as a mother, I was failing as a wife, I was failing as a woman. It wasn't good enough, when I wasn't. The parts that I was failing at, now looking back and reflecting, is not asking for help, not accepting help. That's the things that I was failing at. And now that I recognize it, obviously the time has passed. It's a little too late for that, but now I can do the work, and I had done the work to heal that part of myself, to forgive myself for who I was being at that time, so I can move forward and not continue that path. Hey Kimberly, good afternoon to you, beautiful. How are you doing? So the last two, well, this one I already technically talked about, is that there are, how many of us were raised is that as a woman, you're responsible for these things. As a man, you're responsible for these things. So as a woman, I was responsible for raising, take care of the kids. When someone else, like my husband, would offer help, I would not allow that, because it was my job, it was my responsibility. And it's like the same thing, that when he was doing certain things that were considered to be a man's job, that it wasn't my place. Gender roles, Debbie says. Yes, exactly. It's like gender roles, gender expectations, that, a woman belongs in the kitchen and in the house and care of the kids, while the man goes off to work and goes out hunting. Where in our household now, we don't have that. We cook together. He's usually the one cooking, and I help out. Sometimes I cook and he helps out. We both clean. We're both responsible for our kids. There's no you or me. We do things together, because separation, doing things separately, creates separation as well, and it can also create guilt, shame, and resentment. And none of us want that. So if we don't want that, then what do we do in order for us to not have that? Girls may be socialized to prioritize needs of others over their own, and downplay their own desires, their own needs, leading to difficulty accepting gifts or help later on in life. Because it's a woman's job to take care of everything and everyone. But how does that make any woman feel, that when you're responsible for everything? What I have been hearing in response to that is that it makes a woman feel, what about me? When are they going to see me? When are they going to take care of me? Where am I going to be seen, heard, and loved? Because I don't feel that. Because I no longer feel the love by giving and giving and giving. I feel drained. So when am I going to get mine? And that is a great, powerful, loud sign, like a red flag, saying, you start with you. You take care of you, and everybody else will follow suit. There's a lot of boundaries that have been crossed, that have not been placed. You taught somebody how to talk to you, how to treat you. So that needs to be readjusted. That needs to be dealt with. Also, fear of being vulnerable. Accepting gifts or help can make people feel vulnerable, as it requires them to acknowledge their own limitations or areas where they need support, leading back to feeling like a failure, where somebody else sees that I'm failing at something and we feel vulnerable, and we struggle to admit, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you for seeing that I need some help and support right now. And when we bring that in, and when we accept the help, when we accept the gift, when we accept being seen, heard, understood, supported, validated, we'll have more of that. But when we reject it, being bashful, oh my God, no thank you, because that's what good girls do, right? Good girls give compliments, but they don't receive compliments. Oh, please stop it, it's okay, right? No, think about what happens with your body. You turn and you deflect it and say no thank you, when in reality you just want to say thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for helping me. And then you'll have more of that, because then the other person feels seen, heard, validated, and they feel grateful for you being grateful. They feel how you feel. If you feel bad, they're going to feel bad. Feel good, they're going to feel good. Maybe not right away, but they wouldn't be offering the help if they didn't want to help. And if they offer the help just to be nice and polite, well then, why offer? Many of you offer the help because you feel like you have to. You give gift because you feel like you have to. But then why do it when you don't want to? We all have one life. And if we're doing the things that we don't want to do, then at the end of your life, you may find yourself feeling like you have wasted your life on everything and everyone, and that you did not get to do what you wanted to do. Your time is now in this lifetime and not in the next one, because you're not going to remember anything in the next one. You get to do this once. There's no redos. And while you're here, you're not done living. You got so much going for you. You just have to choose you. And when you choose you, when you choose yourself, you allow other people around you to do the same. And that is when you will start to recognize the true love, the true connections in your life that you already have. And it will just amplify that much more. When you work on yourself and you change and you shift yourself, you will see the reflection of that evolution, of that growth outside of you as well. People will seemingly start to change right before your eyes. They become exactly who you want them to become. But the only thing that changed is you. Yes, they might have changed a little bit, but the biggest part is you and your perception and your lens of how you see and view the world. They might have been exactly the same way, but now that you've worked on yourself, that you actually see them for who they are. And you allow yourself to be vulnerable, to be open and honest. So that is all that I have for you guys for today. This one was a later video. And hopefully this helped you in a way of how you needed it today, to start accepting gifts or accepting help or asking for help. And as I mentioned earlier, if you enjoy these videos, these guidance lessons, then go find you can find it actually on my profile, whether it's on Facebook or on Instagram, in Linktree, or just the link there. My podcast on your favorite platform called Get Your Shit Together with Yana Kasperczak. And if you're not already subscribed, you can subscribe and listen to all the podcasts that you feel called to listen to. And feel free to share the podcast, either specific podcast or just the podcast in general, with anyone who you see could benefit from that. And I upload new podcasts on there typically twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. So check it out. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And other than that, I shall see you all tomorrow live in our Facebook group called Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women, where Bethany and I will be doing our live podcast called Heal the Unicorn on topics that will help you to heal yourself. And let me actually bring up the topic for tomorrow. It's the February 21st. It will be how trauma plays a role in your purpose. That one is going to be a really, really good one. Hi, Rebecca. How are you doing, beautiful? Rebecca says, I always say thank you when he changes her diaper. I love that. Debbie said, thank you. Kimberly said, have a beautiful day. You too as well. Have an amazing day yourself. And Rebecca said, sorry I was late. Had a homeschool meeting. I'll rewatch in the beginning as soon as it's uploaded. Perfect. I'll see you on the replay. So thank you, ladies, for being on here with me, for watching live or watching on the replay. And I always love to know who is watching me, whether you're watching me live or on the replay. So let me know if you're watching on the replay or live, and at least just say hi so I know you have watched this as well. And other than that, until we see each other again, live tomorrow or next week for another Get Your Shit. This is the wrong one. Story time with Yana Kasperczak. On Tuesday next week at 11:30-ish, and I say ish because sometimes the Secret Circle runs a little longer, so that way I hop on whenever I am able to, right after we're done. Other than that, until we see each other next time, bye everybody, thanks for watching.